Oregon's game Saturday against USC is the most important one of the year today for both teams, really. The winner likely goes to the playoffs. The loser likely does not. Both teams are not at full strength, but the Ducks have really been banged up. Will it cost them the playoffs? Locked On Big Ten starts now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you very much for all that. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button. We're this close to 25,000, but that way you never miss a single episode. It's free. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out too. And if you can hype YouTube videos, that would be great as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So USC, Oregon, it's a battle of attrition with absolutely everything on the line. Plus, we'll have some Big Ten news for you and Big Ten classics and live action coming up. But Oregon's home date on Saturday against USC, it's huge. Absolutely huge. Like I said, I think the winner gets into the playoffs. The loser is out, even though Oregon has been ranked in the top 10 throughout the year, top 5. But, and some wonder that if Oregon can lose this game, a close game to USC, and still make the playoffs, maybe. We'll worry about that next weekend. All right. How about we'll get into next week and we'll see what happens with the rankings and all that. But this is basically a playoff game right here. This is it. It's an elimination game, really. Neither team at full strength going into this game. It's kind of a shame. You'd like to see them both at full strength with everything on the line. Let's start with the Oregon Ducks. They moved up 1 in Tuesday's college football playoff rankings to number 7. Oregon's won 4 straight since their home loss to Indiana. It's ironic. Quarterback Dante completed 27 of 30 passes and threw for a career-high 306 yards in the blowout win versus Minnesota last week. And that's with the Ducks wide receiver core thinned out with injuries. Corey Moore was out against that Minnesota team. He missed the Iowa game too. True freshman Dante Moore, true go-to guy on the perimeter. Just they've got a lot of chemistry and they really need him back in the lineup. Gary Bryant Jr., he was out in the Minnesota game. He got injured in the Iowa game with an ankle. He's also a former USC guy. Probably wants to do well in this game this weekend. Now in his 3rd season with the Ducks, missed most of last year with a foot injury, but good so far this year in 2025. Versus Minnesota, other guys had to step up. And this is what's encouraging about Oregon. I mean, they can go young and deep. They're always reloading their wide receiver rooms, their running back rooms. That's what's always impressive to me about Dan Lanning. Freshman Jeremiah McClellan had 3 catches and a touchdown in that game that weekend. Malik Benson had a couple of catches and 55 yards, just stepping in a backup role and helping out. Tight end Kenyon Sadiq, of course, was questionable going into Minnesota, but he played and played well. 8 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. His backup, Jamari Johnson, chipped in with 4 catches and 36 yards against Iowa in very tough conditions. So that was pretty interesting. He stepped up with 4 more catches in the Minnesota game. So look, you would think just rely on the running game at Oregon when the passing game's still working fine. But then the running game is really good and really deep. I think they have the deepest running back room in the Big Ten. Noah Whittington last week, 72 yards, senior running back, powerful. Jordan Davison, an up-and-coming 240-pound freshman, 57 hard-earned yards and a couple of touchdowns that game. And don't forget De'Ara Hill Jr. That makes him the deepest running back room in the Big Ten, maybe the country. And the Ducks running game, it's top in the Big Ten at 237 yards per game. It's tied for second in the Big Ten with 26 rushing touchdowns. By the way, Washington and USC also with 26 rushing touchdowns as well. More on USC's rushing attack in just a moment. But before we look into that, into the Trojans' health situation as well. But the Oregon Ducks, they get a lot of attention on their offense. And I know people respect their defense, but I don't think people realize how good their defense is. Their defense is the number 3 defense in FBS and the number 1 passing defense in the Big Ten. And, the Ducks, they're hurting on the defensive side of the ball, too. This is with injured people. Inside linebacker, Devon Jackson, defensive tackle, Tiana Gray. They sat out the Minnesota game as well, even though they were listed as questionable, which tells me they're like, all right, we think we can win the Minnesota game without you. Get an extra week of rest. All right, get an extra 8 days here and be ready for the USC game because we got to bring everything but the kitchen sink for that one. That's what I think is going on. This game is a big deal. I mentioned Oregon on a 4-game heater. USC's won 3 games in a row, too, since their loss to Notre Dame. They moved up 2 spots in this week's rankings to number 15. So they're close enough where if they beat Oregon, they could jump in there and jump into the playoff mix. And, I think that's exactly what could happen if they win. I think the committee would look at them very favorably at that point. The offense, I just talked about the Oregon defense. They're going to be going against the USC offense. Pretty good. Top 6 FBS, number 1 in the Big Ten. Offense is led by quarterback Jayden Maiava. He averages 489 yards of offense per game, the whole offense with him running it. For USC, some interesting news this week out of their running back room. Waymond Jordan, he came out and practiced in pads this week for the first time since the Michigan game, right? October 11th. He's been out that long. He actually underwent some surgery trying to fix things up. He's expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He's getting closer, but Lincoln Riley says he's not expected to play against Oregon. I mean, if it were a different position, maybe, but a running back, you got to cut and move and all that stuff. It's just too much. So we won't see him. They already lost Eli Sanders, but I've been so amazed about this kid we've talked about a lot here on this podcast. King Miller, freshman walk-on. Got to get that kid a scholarship. In 5 games, 567 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. He's averaging almost 6.5 yards per carry. Get the kid a scholarship. But that Iowa game was pretty rough for USC. Elijah Page, the left tackle. Kamari Ramsey, the defensive back. Bishop Fitzgerald, the free safety. They all went down in the Iowa game. They all did a little bit in practice this week. Lincoln Riley says, hey, let's see where we're at the end of the week. So, good news. None of it seemed to be long-term. If they're going to be ready for this weekend or not, that remains to be seen at this time. This is going to be a battle of attrition. Who's left? Everything's on the line. Let's go for it. So I think the bottom line to look at here, will the Ducks secondary contain Maiava, the quarterback for USC? They might not. All the Mekhi Lemon and all these wide receiver weapons that USC has. So when you look at Oregon's defense, the most passing yards they've given up this year was against Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, but he only threw for 215 yards. So they have, by and large, shut down every quarterback they face. I'll throw another example at you, one you may not think of. Ethan Kaliak-Manis at Rutgers is actually, he's got the second most passing yards per game in the Big Ten at 271 this year. The Ducks held him to 79 total. No touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So I think that kind of illustrates how good this Ducks passing defense is. So this game will not only be for a playoff spot, but don't forget there's some lingering Pac-12, let's call it a hatred, rivalry. Remember, these were 2 Pac-12 teams, and I think there's a little there behind the scenes with this game as well. Both sides want it really badly. USC leads the all-time series, 38, 23, and 2 ties. But the Ducks have won 7 of the last 9 and 3 straight. If they win their 4th straight on Saturday, it'll be the longest winning streak against USC ever. And again, probably send the Ducks to the playoffs, kind of secure that and knock the Trojans out. Would love your comments and your take on this game. What do you think? Hit us up in the comments on YouTube. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button, though. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that'd be great as well. Don't forget, we have a website, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there. Plus, you can press the logo, click on the logo of your favorite Big Ten school, and it'll take you to some merchandise, shirts, hoodies, T-shirts, pennants, your school logo on it, all in time for the holidays. So check that out again at talkbig10.com. All right. Still lots to talk about, some Big Ten news, some interesting stuff going on behind the scenes with these teams, some recruiting news, all that kind of stuff. We'll have our Big Ten Classics, a Big Ten live action. That's also coming up right here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. The NBA is back. We're in full swing. Have you seen the Pistons? Like 13-2. What is going on here? There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride out the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live in-game bets with the same game parlay. Maybe you set before the game, maybe a bigger payout for you there. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. Again, my hot tip of the week, Miami Heat overs. Take them. I do. It's fun. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go ahead to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. That's at FanDuel.com. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You everydayers make us go. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that would be great too. And check us out at our website at talkbig10.com for a second listen when you're done here. So Virginia Tech introduced former Penn State head coach James Franklin as their new head coach on Wednesday. He was very excited about the opportunity. Look, I think he'll be that's a good opportunity for both him and that school there as well. And look, they've been looking to get right at football coach since the Frank Beamer days. They've had some misses. And James Franklin's going to win a lot of football games. He won a lot of football games at Vanderbilt. He won a lot of football games at Penn State. He's going to win a lot of games at Virginia Tech. Plus, let's be real. The ACC is there for the taking. It's a much weaker conference than we used to in the Big Ten. They're on the SEC. The ACC, it's winnable. Clemson's down. I don't know what Florida State is. I don't know what Miami is. Somebody can rise. And James Franklin could do it. He's good enough. He'll recruit. I told you in yesterday's podcast, he's starting to try to flip the kids he recruited to Penn State for 2026. Say, come on down to Virginia Tech. So I think he's going to do okay there. He's going to rack up some wins. I took the liberty of looking up the Hokies 2026 schedule, and Franklin will face one Big Ten team next year. They travel to Maryland in September, and their ACC schedule includes a couple of road dates at Clemson and at Miami, two schools I just mentioned. I mean, you talk about a chance to put your stamp on your arrival. Go win those games. I'll get some people's attention. All right, so I want to talk about this upcoming game, Penn State, speaking of Penn State, that they have with Nebraska. Matt Rule coming in as the head coach of Nebraska. Of course, his alma mater is Penn State, and the Huskers have been without their starting quarterback, Dylan Raiola, for a few weeks with a leg injury, and now his brother's leaving. What do we make about this? His brother was a 3-star, class of 2026, Dayton Raiola. And he announced his decommitment and that he's reopened his recruitment. And it's just a few weeks from signing day. That's coming up first week of December. I thought it was kind of strange. But, and look at this. Matt Rule's Husker classes, recruiting class of 2026. It's one of the smallest recruiting classes in the country. There's only 9 verbal commits to Nebraska right now. Again, the signing period is December 3rd through the 5th. I don't know if that we should be concerned or not. And now the younger Raiola's not coming. Was that a sign about Dylan maybe not being happy? So no commit for the class of 2026. Now, here's what may really be going on. Dylan Raiola's still the guy. Freshman quarterback TJ Lateef looks pretty good. Like he can handle it and a little bit promising. And then they have a good class of 27 quarterback coming in to Trey Taylor. So look, maybe the younger Raiola is saying, hey, I'm getting squeezed out. There's no room for me here. Maybe that's all that's going on. But the rumors are flying. Rumors are flying about Matt Rule talking about his old school Penn State when they play this weekend, even though he just signed a contract extension to stay in Nebraska. All these the Raiola family. It's crazy. Now, on another subject, I was reading earlier today, USA Today had a piece on Northwestern's brand new Ryan Field football stadium. It's due to open in 2026. I mean, it's up. It's still under construction, but it's starting to look pretty cool. And I've seen some renderings of it. It looks like it's going to be a nice, cushy place to watch a football game. I'll tell you that. You know, the past 2 seasons, they've been bouncing back and forth between their makeshift stadium on their lacrosse field on the shores of Lake Michigan with 15,000 bleacher seats there. And they've been playing a few games at Wrigley Field. They played last weekend against Michigan there. They're going to play there again this weekend. But this new stadium, here's how cozy it is. It was pretty small to begin with, right? The old Ryan Field was only 47,000 seats. It was the smallest of the Big Ten. And they're going smaller, more quaint, better experience. 35,000 seats. That's it. And every seat in the house is good. In fact, they tabbed this death of the nosebleed seats. You're not going to have any seats way high up in the rafters looking down, bad view, none of that. Every view, you can feel right on top of the stadium. So it's going to be really nice. And they're trying to transform the fan experience over there at Northwestern. Looks like you'll be living in the lap of luxury. Every seat's a high-end seat over there. Cost of the stadium is almost $1 billion. Actually, it's like 800 million and change. It's under 900 million. And it's open air, but it's canopied over all the seats. Kind of like Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. You know, got the canopy covered to keep the sun off. Look, not only keep inclement weather on, which, let's face it, there in Illinois and Northwestern, they get a lot of bad weather coming off that lake. They'll be comfortable, but it'll be open air in the middle. And also bounce back the sound, all of it. So 35,000 people, yeah, but all that sound is going to be bouncing back on to the field. Maybe they can create some kind of home field advantage. They certainly, under David Braun, they certainly play hard. They play good. If they get one more win, they're back to a bowl game for the second time in 3 years. So we'll see. I've seen a lot of pictures and renderings of this and videos, flyby videos. It looks really cool. It's a nice looking stadium they have there. I looked ahead. Their home opener next year, September 12th, South Dakota versus Northwestern. And then September 19th, Coach Prime, well, if Deion's still there, Colorado coming to Northwestern. That'll be a big deal. That'll be pretty cool. All right, we got some men's basketball tonight I want to tell you about here on Thursday night. Memphis is at number 1 Purdue. The Boilermakers at 4-0. That's a 6 p.m. game Eastern time on CBS Sports Network. That's the Baja Mar Championship. Linwood is at 4-0 Indiana. Indiana coming off a closer than comfortable game with Incarnate Word on Sunday after blowing out people before that. So that's at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. New Mexico is at 4-0 Nebraska. That is a 7 o'clock game tonight Eastern time on Peacock. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. That's part of the Hall of Fame Classic. Chicago State hasn't won a game yet. They're at 4-0 Iowa. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Plus. And Western Michigan is at 4-0 Ohio State, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on the Big Ten Network. And let's not forget, Troy is at 3-0 USC. Southern Cal, that is at 10 o'clock Eastern on the Big Ten Network, 7 p.m. Pacific. All right, it is time to look ahead at our Big Ten Classics. If you're new, we always do features at the end. It's one of the things that makes us the most interesting podcast out there, I think. Mondays, we do my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Those are always fun. Kind of a quick way to recap the weekend. Tuesday tweets, it's kind of self-explanatory. Follow us on Twitter at Talk Big Ten and put something out there. I'll put it on the show on Tuesdays with Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we power rank things such as the standings and all that. We did that yesterday. Today, Thursdays, we always take a look at the Big Ten Network. Even though we're not affiliated with them, we have similar interests, and I pull out Big Ten Classics. They do a great job of looking at the schedule. What game do we have on Saturday? All right, let's find previous matchups between those two teams from yesteryear, and they play them in their Big Ten Classics. Always love that. And then we'll tell you what their lineup is for live games this weekend. Triple header this weekend on the Big Ten Network. We'll do that. And then tomorrow, we will recap. Well, actually, tomorrow, we will preview every Big Ten game, every Big Ten team, in addition to the Oregon USC game, which we spent a lot of time on today. But then we always close it out by going on the record with our pigskin picks. So that's what we do on Fridays. We're looking forward to doing that tomorrow. All right. In the meantime, we've got our Big Ten Classics in live action. That's coming up next in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. All right. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. And I'm going to tell you about our weekend plans in just a little bit as far as which podcast what game we're going to go live after. But first, I want to put it on the screen here. And if you're on audio only on Spotify or Apple, take a look at our Big Ten Classics that we have pulled ahead. As I mentioned, they take games of that are actually taking place this weekend and go back to yesteryear. Here is a Nebraska football classic. Nebraska at Penn State. We're going to go back to 2013 for this one, where Pat Smith kicked a 42-yard field goal on their first possession in overtime to lift the Cornhuskers to a 23-20 win over the Nittany Lions. At 1 o'clock, we got an Illinois football classic, Wisconsin at Illinois. This is from 2019. James McCourt kicking a 39-yard field goal for the Fighting Illini as the clock ran down to complete a big 24-23 upset over the sixth-ranked Badgers. And then at 6:30, we got men's basketball. Detroit, the University of Detroit at Michigan State, taking on Tom Izzo. Boy, we were talking about Tom Izzo's schedule. Got Kentucky earlier this week. They got Duke. I think they got North Carolina coming up. Just amazing. They'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere. And at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on Friday night, more men's basketball. Presbyterian at UCLA, taking on Mick Cronin's team out there. Let's take a look now to Saturday, the 22nd. We'll pick it up with a Big Ten tailgate show. They always bounce around. They didn't say where they were going to be this week, so I'm wondering if it's a studio show, kind of a setup for the entire day of Big Ten football, and that leads into their Big Ten countdown to kickoff at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. And then that begins the triple header of Big Ten football on the Big Ten Network on Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Minnesota at Northwestern. That one, another one at Wrigley Field. We just talked about that a moment ago. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. It's Michigan at Maryland. Nice quarterback matchup here. Bryce Underwood for Michigan, Malik Washington for Maryland, 2 freshmen that have been inserted into the starting position for both of their teams. So I thought for a while that this might be a showdown for the Big Ten Freshman of the Year award. I don't know. It may still be if one of these two has a big game in this game. Both have had their ups and downs. There's no question about it. And then at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, Illinois is at Wisconsin. Carter Smith is going to make his second career start for the Badgers. Meanwhile, Illinois, if they run the table in the regular season and win a bowl game, Brett Bielema, a back-to-back 10-win seasons possible for the Fighting Illini. Let's take a look now to Sunday's action. Now, a lot of recaps here. First of all, at 10:30 in the morning, if you missed it, they'll have their final drive where they do highlights of every game, breaking it down. It airs late Saturday, overnight Saturday, all day Sunday, but I just picked the 10:31 for you to check out if you want to get your day started there. And then instead of the Big Ten Classics, they do their Big Ten Football in 60, where they'll show every play, every highlight from the game in order, snap by snap, but they cut out all the middle stuff in between the plays, and they boil a game down into an hour. They'll start off at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Pacific. Michigan at Maryland with that one. Then I want to go ahead and fast forward to 8:30 because you're probably going to watch a lot of NFL football throughout the day. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, Nebraska at Penn State. They'll show that one all boiled down into an hour. At 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, the Rutgers-Ohio State game, and they'll do the same at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific p.m. Michigan State at Iowa. So that's the Big Ten Classics and live triple header, and then the recaps on Sunday for your weekend on the Big Ten Network. So enjoy all that and stay caught up with everything. Of course, we're here for you to stay caught up on everything. We'll do some interesting stuff over the weekend. We'll go live after the USC Oregon game. That is a 3:30 Eastern kickoff, 12:30 Pacific. So I'm anticipating that ending around 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We will go live right here. That way you get my immediate raw reaction to that game. We'll also recap all the other games that have taken place around the Big Ten. And then we'll preview the remaining night games as well and send you off into your weekend. But in the meantime, I will get your live real-time reaction as well. We'll see if we're on the same page. We always take comments and all that stuff. It's always a lot of fun. Go live on Saturdays. Mark your calendar right after the USC Oregon game. And by then, we should know, right? We have a pretty good feel. Is USC going to the playoffs? I think they will if they win that game. Or is Oregon going to go in the playoffs? They've been ranked all year. Will they fall too far out of the rankings if they lose and not go to the playoffs? That is a huge game on Saturday. That's why we're going live after that one as well. All right, there are many ways for you to interact with us here. We're here every day. Follow us on Twitter or X at TalkBig10. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. That's the number 10 for all of our podcasts. Go back and check out yesterday's podcast. We did a big story on Michigan possibly leaving the Big Ten. Go check it out. And yesterday's listen with that equity deal, the $2.4 billion equity deal. They don't like it. And they don't want it forced on them. It's a very interesting story to keep an eye on if you want to go back for a second listen there. Whatever you do, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that would be great as well. Also, for all you college football fans out there, Locked On and Fire TV present the college football kickoff. It's your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12. He does a great job there, but he also leads the conversation here with this college football preview show, along with two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson. Former college star Jesse Holley joins them as well. And then all of our Locked On experts gather and give you everything you need to know about all the games going into the weekend. It is a college football preview that only Locked On can do. So catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Well, that'll do it for us. I am looking forward to tomorrow's show where we're going to preview every team, every game going into the weekend. But we'll have the point spreads and the totals, and we'll do our pigskin picks like we do every Friday. We'll share that with you as well. And then, boom, Saturday, we'll enjoy the games, and we'll be live after USC and Oregon. Thanks for checking us out here today. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Shemon. See you next time.